What's going on, everybody? This is Toy Addict 26, and welcome back to another meeting of Toy Addicts Anonymous. This is the fifth Toy Addicts Anonymous, and today I'm very excited to have my buddy Carlos Espino, also known as the Badass Reviews, and we're going to be talking shop. So, without further ado, what's going on, Carlos? How's it
What's
going,
up,
man?
guys? My name is Carlos Espino. I'm 45 and I'm a toy addict, dude.
That's right, baby. Yeah, addicted and proud. That's what I say. And you know, it's
Exactly,
funny.
dude.
When I was doing toy reviews a couple years back, I got some T-shirts done, and it's funny how things work out in life. You know, back then it was all about reviewing toys and stuff like that, and a lot of things have changed in my life. But I wanted to do something that had to do with the culture, with a hobby, with toys, and that's when I came up with this Toy Addicts Anonymous show. And the funny thing is that I have T-shirts with my logo on it, and in the back it says "Addicted and Proud." So it's a perfect connection to what I'm doing now and to the evolution of my YouTube channel and you know, these shows that are coming on now.
Yeah, dude. People should be proud of what they're doing. I mean, like otherwise, why you're doing it? If you were like ashamed of things, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I'm super proud of being like a geek, action figure collector and comic book collector. I love that. I don't care what other people said about me or whatever. I love this.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things about this hobby. Um, it brings us joy. It brings us happiness. Collecting toys, you know, I can't even really say it's something from when in my earlier years when I collected, the thrill of the hunt, where you would find things. But with the way things are nowadays, with no more Toys R Us and poor distribution and scalper activity, it's one of those things where I can't say I get anything out of the thrill of the hunt. You know, personally, I'm always reaching out to you to look out for stuff for me because I just don't have the resources to go to store to store to store to store, and I don't have a lot of stores. I'm in Homestead, so I have two Walmarts which never restock. They never have shit, and then I have a Target that's like 30 minutes away. So for me, it's really about pre-orders, pre-orders, pre-orders. Hasbro Pulse, um, you know, Big Bad Toy Store, Mezco Direct, and like local trades and things like that. So, you know, that's one part that was really exciting a couple years back, was like hunting, going to stores and finding things. I know you still do that. You go to stores and you film
When I
walking
have
through the
time.
stores, but you find shit though. Like up in Broward in your area, you know, there's a lot more stores and there's a lot more product. Down here in the South, um, I just don't find anything. So honestly, I just really don't bother, you know, because I usually end up coming home empty-handed. I don't find anything that I need. The other day, it was funny because the other day I went to Target for the first time in like over a month and a half, and they had, I kid you not, bro, they had like 15 to 20 Battle Cats. They had like 15 Skelegods. They had a shitload of new Jurassic Park stuff, NECA stuff. I never see turtle stuff for NECA, but everything else there. But then the stuff that I'm looking for, which is like the Villains Wave for Marvel Legends, um, GI Joe, stuff like that. I never find that stuff in stores. You know?
Yeah, I'm very lucky because my area is being like really, really good recently. I have a lot of stores, and I always try to manage my time, like between my job and everything else, like to go to stores. And the other part is like you need to be lucky also. I mean, you need to have good luck when you're like chasing X type of figure or whatever, because you have a lot of, I mean, now with all these, like you said, like nowadays with all these and all this shit that is going on in the world, I mean, you have more people like collecting stuff. I mean, back in the days, I don't know if because we're more like in the internet and we start meeting more people, and like around the hobby. But recently, this year, last year, I've been like meeting more and more collectors in my area, which is insane. I never thought how many people were doing the same things I'm doing
Yeah.
around me. It's funny and crazy at the same time, you know?
I think that's one of the fun things about collecting also for me. Um, getting to meet people like you, and I've made a lot of good friends through what I used to do. People be like, "Oh my God, I love your reviews, this and that," and we start talking, and then we help each other out to find stuff we're looking for, and then I find out that you're not necessarily local, but you're a few hours north of me, and it's cool to meet new people that are in the same hobby and that share the same thrill and excitement for collecting action figures, and also the age, like I want to say most people that collect toys nowadays, we're in our 40s, some are in our 50s. You know, you even I would say people that are in their 30s, they're mostly like pop collectors and shit. They don't really collect action figures. I think it's kind of that cluster of an age where if you're in your 40s and up, you're an action figure collector right now. If you're a little younger, you're maybe like into pop and Pokemon and like that cutesy shit. I mean,
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy because I was kind of like, actually, I was thinking on that today, and when I was watching, like, I was in the internet and I was checking all these summer exclusives that are coming, and I was checking pretty much what's happening with GI Joes, with Transformers, with Masters of the Universe, and if you think about it, that's our generation. Like, we grew up on the 80s with G.I. Joes, with
yeah,
Transformers, with Thundercats, Silverhawks, Masters of the Universe. So crazy that nowadays those are the main lines, that you find in like the toy departments and stuff like that, which makes me think like, like how many of us still collect action figures, even at our age, like 40 something, 50 something, like you said. And if you, I mean, most of the time when I'm in a toy aisle, I'm always checking, and you have pretty much the same amount of adults and kids looking for action figures, which is crazy and cool at the same time,
yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy.
No, it's really crazy, but let's learn a little bit about you, about the badass reviews. So, tell me about basically, what got you into collecting. Is this something that you've carried on from your childhood, um, or was there a point in your life in adulthood where you decided, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to collect action figures.
Well, it's both. In my childhood, I think I can relate everything to my mom. Back in the days, I mean, I'm a 80s child. Um, when Masters of the Universe came out, which I think was one of my first lines, and when I was a kid, uh, I was pretty much 82. I was 7 years old, 6 years old. And I remember my first action figure. I still remember was Beastman, and I remember my mom bought Beastman for me. I don't know if it was a Christmas or I don't know, but I start playing. I find out that one of my friends from school have also Masters of the Universe. So after school on the weekends, we were having like a play day with Masters of the Universe, and then from there we start collecting Transformers, and it was always the same group. I think we were like maybe like 3 or 4 kids at that time, and I remember we were making stories and everything, which was amazing. Like we were like playing this weekend. Okay, we're gonna do this story about He-Man or whatever, and then we stopped playing. Of course, it was late, so we left the story there, and we came back on the next weekend to pick it up from there, the story, and keep playing around that. I
That's
think,
awesome.
yeah, I think around that age, When I turned, I think on my teens, maybe girls, other stuff, kind of like interrupt that collecting part of me. I think I start concentrating other stuff. I was into rock and roll, other stuff, and I stopped collecting. I think for a period, maybe like 6 years, 5 years, or something like that. I still read comics and stuff and watch cartoons and everything, but I wasn't interested in collecting action figures. I think I started picking up everything. I don't know if you remember this cartoon of Fantastic Four in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was an awesome cartoon, and I fell in love with them. So the line, I think, was Toy Biz, was making these action figures. Actually, I got my first Thanos figure from that line. I think it was the first Thanos figure ever. So I fall in love with that line, and I start collecting that. And funny thing, all my friends on the neighborhood at that time were into the rock and roll scene in Panama, and they were also collecting action figures, and they were also collecting comic books. So I think when I was like maybe like 19 years old, something like that, start collecting back again till today.
It's funny you mentioned Fantastic Four because I have here on my monitor the Hasbro team is about to reveal the new HasLab, which, the cat's out of the bag already. We know it's going to be Galactus.
Yes,
And
sir.
that picture that we saw this morning, that thing's going to be like, what, 4 or 5 feet tall? It's insane.
It's gonna be
But,
massive.
but it's funny that you mentioned that whole Fantastic Four thing because they've been teasing the Fantastic Four retro line with, remember the Doctor Doom that they had last year
Correct.
with the cartoon retro, which is the cartoon show you're talking about. And I can't wait to see that full line. They've teased Johnny Storm, and we know we're going to be getting those classic Fantastic Four costumes.
I love that
Just in
costume.
time for Galactus, which is coming as the HasLab. It's funny because, I'm a big Marvel guy too, just like you, but I have limits in the sense that I don't buy everything. I stick more to the classics. And for me, of course, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff is interesting. But there's a lot of characters from like 90s storylines from the 2000s that I don't relate with, and I don't buy those things. So I find myself cherry picking, and when they do these waves of Marvel Legends, you have that struggle where like, okay, you want the Build-A-Figure, but you don't want everybody in the wave. You want the classic guys. So perfect example, I just got the classic Ultron figure from Hasbro Pulse, and he's really like the only figure that I wanted from that wave. Maybe the Iron Man. Oh, I got the Stealth Iron Man, but then I really don't care about the other characters. And Ursa Major, it's just like a big articulated bear. It's like it's
I know.
cool, but I don't really need it. So it's like you have to like set limits.
It's too
And
much money, dude.
you
It's
know
too
me,
much
I
money.
collect too much stuff. So it's like Thundercats, the GI Joes that were just revealed yesterday from Super 7,
Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe. It's so much stuff that you have to kind of like filter it down, and you gotta choose your battles, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what I was trying to say is that I didn't get the Sentinel. I don't know if you got that. The
Not. Nope.
Because I feel that for me, it's more about Fantastic Four, the classic stuff. That Sentinel, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I'm not so much of like a hardcore X-Men guy. I'm more of like a classic, Hulk, Spider-Man. Jesus Christ, this thing is humongous.
You
I'm
saw
looking
it?
at pictures.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, dude.
he's basically they have Reed Richards standing next to Galactus, and Reed Richards is like halfway through the lower portion of the leg, so he doesn't even reach his knee.
Oh my God. It's gonna
I'm
be
waiting
huge.
for the measurement to come on screen because I
I
don't see
want. I
that yet.
want. I want to see a picture next to the Sentinel.
Oh, it's definitely going to tower over the Sentinel. That's for sure.
Yeah, because of the helmet also.
The helmet and then the light. And you know what's funny? David Bonner from Hasbro. I don't know if you ever got into the Marvel Universe line, the ones that were like the 3 3/4.
Dude, that was actually when I start collecting back in the 90s. I start collecting Marvel Universe. And that was my first completed line in my life. So I completed the whole Marvel Universe line, counting the SDCC exclusives. I even got the, I don't know if you remember this, they make these figures just for people that were working in Hasbro back in the days. It was a white shirt, Luke Cage, and it was a Black Widow, I think was the gray one or something like that. Well, I got two of those figures,
Oh
and
wow.
those were like gems. And also, I got the Dollar Tree Captain America exclusive and the Thor exclusive. It was crazy.
Red heart.
That's
was
funny
great.
because 2000s was like, yeah, like the Marvel Universe world kind of unfolded. Because if you remember when Hasbro revealed that they were taking over Marvel Legends from Toy Biz, like they weren't doing a really good job. The figures looked really bad. People were like not happy. They weren't on board. And then it came a point where I guess that's when they tried Marvel Universe because they said let's try something new and fresh, and it kicked off pretty good. And I remember those huge displays at Comic Con where they would have the giant monsters and the battles with like hundreds of figures inside the cases. And then for some reason, I guess people just lost interest and they were like, we want what you're doing with Universe, but in 6 inch. And that's when
Exactly.
Marvel Legends took the center stage. And then that's when Marvel Universe kind of went away slowly. But, you know, David Bonner and his team did an amazing job with Marvel Universe. And, you know, the reason I brought that up is because they were the first ones to introduce the big Galactus with the lights and sounds. And I remember I got the SDCC Galactus that came on a giant blister card.
With the blister.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was so amazing. So you know, it's come a long way. The Marvel brand has really grown by leaps and bounds, and then now we've got this Galactus, which is going to be
Monster.
probably like taller than a toddler. So it's just
It's incredible, dude. I remember there were three Galactus. It was the car one, which was the SDC exclusive,
there was a purple one.
the purple one, and the regular version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it was incredible. The same with the Sentinel. Sentinel were three also. It was the
Yeah.
blue one, the pink one, and the SDC exclusive too.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you something. In terms of collecting, have you ever found yourself um, at any point in life during your collecting as an adult where you had struggled or found anything negative about the collecting, like where, let's say, you noticed that you were spending way too much money on stuff and, um, you know, maybe had, you know, any kind of arguments with your significant other or anything negative that came from the addiction of the toys?
Well, yes. Who doesn't? It's life. It's part of life, and not everybody understand what we're doing. Um, I think people. I think when I was a teenager, I started like kind of like struggling with collecting, um, because I wanted to have pretty much everything, but I couldn't. Because it was impossible for me at that time. Um, so I kind of like got caught up in certain stuff. I started spending money on my credit card, and like back in the days, it was kind of hard. So I get to the point where, you know what, I need to stop and I need to start, doing things right. And the now that I'm an adult, now that I'm an adult, a grown man with a family and everything, I think I'm wise on how I spend my money. I'm smart uh, in the collecting. You need to be smart. You need to be smart, and you need to have also common sense. Sometimes I feel that collectors, it's like any addiction, you know. Sometimes people lose their mind, and they fall into this loop, where you are around collectors, you know, and you don't notice that what you're doing is affecting your personal life or your marriage or your family or your work, and that's the part where you need to start sitting down, you know, and thinking, listen, what's more important in life for me? Like, you need to start putting priorities, family, other stuff. So to me now, collecting is kind of like, to me, it's like collecting art, and I have my toy room. Even my wife was the one who came out with the idea of making a toy room in my garage. Um, so this whole room is hers, because I think she was tired to seeing like action figures like in the closets everywhere in the house. So she's like, hey, let's put this somewhere, you know? And I mean, I'm super thankful for that. But at the same time, you need to keep a balance. You need to keep a balance between your personal life and your collecting addiction. You know, you need to, because that's gonna mess up everything. Listen, I have people out of the blue that came up to me like asking for advices sometimes because they seen, let's see, friends, okay, they seen my pictures on Facebook or whatever, going to trips with my family, this and that, and at the same time they see me collecting action figures and everything, and they're like, how you keep that balance? Well, you need to work. It's like everything in life, you need to work on it. And it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience. You need to pay the bills first, take care of your family, and at the same time enjoying what you're doing. And for me, it's kind of hard. I mean, don't make me wrong, it's not that easy. I mean, we have the dental clinic. um, I have a martial arts school. I'm a martial art instructor. um, and I'm a father, and a husband.
You know what?
So
Kudos to you, man. I don't know how you pull it off because, like you said, you run your martial arts school. You have kind of a 9 to 5 where you work at the dental practice. You're a father. And then on top of that, you find the time to do your reviews. I don't know how you do it, Carlos. I sure can't do it. I can do this, sit down for an hour and talk shop and talk it up with my fellow collectors and people in the industry, but I can't go into detail and do the toy reviews that I used to enjoy doing back then because it's so time consuming, man.
dude, I remember, I mean, I meet you through the YouTube channel. I was a big fan of you on your reviews and everything because of the excitement you put on it, the positivity you put on your videos, which is something that we pretty much lose recently in YouTube. Like I seen a lot of reviewers focus on the negative,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of like tired of that. So that's why I stopped watching a lot of these reviewers, because every time I seen an action figure review, the reviewer, and this is a, like, it's a criticism, but it is what it is from the point of view of a viewer. you know I seen this guy doing a review, and he started the video saying, I don't like this figure, or I don't like he killed the excitement of the video. And to me, when I do, listen, I don't have too much followers in my YouTube channel, but I do this because I love action figures. That's what I do. I don't do this for the money. Trust me, I have my hands full, like you say, with everything I do. I just do this because it's fun to me, and I always try to keep myself positive in all my videos because this world is full of so much negativity and crazy shit going on. So when I do my reviews, I try always to put all the positive. Yes, I need to tell what's wrong or what's not with the figure, because not everything is perfect, you know. But I try to be, even when I criticize something, I try to be positive about it, and that's where we're kind of like missing in these YouTube channels recently. But I remember, bro, I was a huge fan of your videos. And the first thing I told you when we meet each other, I was like, why you stop doing videos? You know?
Because life.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I understand. I totally
Your daughter
understand.
is grown. Mine is 13 months,
I
and
know.
she doesn't sleep, man. So it's one of these things where I'm always, and then on top of that, that I also, I'm an artist, and I'm wanting to take the art to another level in terms of, getting exposure and stuff. So every once in a while, whenever I get the chance, I jump on and I do some creations, and I share them online and everything. And so between doing my art, doing these videos, and then being a parent, and then of course doing my job, my plate is full. I just
Yeah.
really can't. But it's something like, it's good what you're saying. There's a lot of negativity, and I think collecting is something that, especially now when we went through this whole COVID, thankfully for me and my wife, my family, we were pretty good. I mean, I lost my mother at the end of 2020, but
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
know.
because of COVID. She had really bad kidneys, and she was suffering a lot. So she's in a better place now. But, you know, um, things really kind of flourished for me because of COVID. I got an opportunity for a new job, and that's kind of opened up the realm of possibilities for me to record and do things, and do what I'm doing now. So I feel like everything happens for a reason. But I'm back. I'm back with a vengeance. I'm going to be doing, I have so much stuff that I want to talk about, but I can't yet because nothing's confirmed. But as far as guests and people that are going to come on here and talk to me on the show, I'm really excited about the future. And, you know, I'm really excited to get back to conventions, man. I'm going to be going to PowerCon in September. I bought my tickets. My wife has never been to California, so we're going to fly up there, go to Anaheim, and I'm meet up with collector buddies of mine that I've known for years that I've never met in person. I don't know if you follow El Sinestro. He runs
Yes.
Raw Live and Unedited. That's my boy, man. We're born on the same fucking day.
Wow.
Yeah, he's super good, and he's flying down from Silicon Valley to Anaheim just to meet up with me, so we can
Awesome.
meet in person. Then I have another buddy of mine, um, um, Andre. He's from Anaheim, and he's gonna be meeting up with me. So I'm looking forward to PowerCon, man. And when I last spoke to Brian Flynn, he was like, "Hey, you coming to PowerCon?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna go to PowerCon.
Dude, I
I
want to
need it."
go. I really want to go, dude. But man, time for me is kind of like impossible. Like, because the thing is, like, in the clinic, or best, like, time for the clinic is during the summer, right? So my vacation time is pretty much during school time, for the family and everybody else. And then I have the martial arts school, so I need to find out a way to let somebody to teach the classes. I have a partner, but he can teach like all the classes, otherwise he's gonna die. So to me, vacation, like, or taking some days off or whatever, is super duper hard, dude. I need to slow down a little bit eventually, but right
But
now,
you know what? Like and that's one thing that I wanted to say. Like you said, that work, that life and collection hobby balance. Um, you're a family man, and every time I see you post your pictures with your daughter and your wife, in Orlando and traveling and at the beach, but then you still get the joy of collecting, but you have that good balance where you make sure you spend that quality time with family, and then you also get that time to play with your toys and buy your stuff.
Oh,
And that brings me to the subject of, we're not rich. So how do we afford and how are we able to get all the stuff we like? For me, one of the things I do is sometimes I double dip. I'll buy double or triple of something, and
always.
then and then you flip or you trade. Sometimes it's a hit or miss. Sometimes we buy stuff, we're like, oh, this is gonna be hot, and then it ends up not being so exclusive, and then we're just kind of like sitting on it. But
Tell me about it. The Superman, Mezco Superman, Christopher Reeves.
oh,
Oh my
really?
God, dude.
You bought a shitload and now you're
Oh
like
my
sitting on them?
God, dude. I mean, right now I have mine and I have one extra one like already, but I got like 6 of them. Dude.
Oh shit.
But what I am doing was like trading them, and that works out pretty good. But
Yeah.
dude, sometimes like you say, hit and miss, dude.
It's a gamble, like I recently created my company for the purposes of this, of like the YouTube channel and my art. And I figured that I would try to do some investments in terms of like buying toys to resell, not necessarily as a web store, but like, on eBay or whatever,
Yeah.
but put them through the business. And I've been buying stuff mainly like Thundercats. I have a shitload of Thundercats on pre-orders. If I tell you, I probably have over $1,000 worth of pre-orders just on the Thundercats waves that are coming, because
Wow.
I know they're going to be hot, and
Yeah,
people are going to be
totally.
like, "Oh, you know what? Damn, I should have gotten these." But it's funny when you say the whole thing about the negativity. I hate every time Super 7 announces something, and then you've got that jackass coming online saying, "Oh, these will probably ship in 2025." It's like, okay, it took way too long to get the Thundercats Wave 2 and 3 in hand. But you know what? Something called COVID happened. It was a worldwide pandemic. You know, um, Super 7 is a small company, which, let me tell you, they're growing and growing and growing at an astronomical rate. But they don't have the resources that like a Mattel or a powerhouse like Hasbro has in terms of production. And unfortunately, the factory where they were producing Thundercats, they were also doing the dinosaurs for Jurassic Park for Mattel. So the factory didn't want to spend all that time. They were prioritizing Mattel stuff and just putting the Super 7 stuff in the back burner. And that's why Brian decided to change factories. And that's why now everything is moving fast. And I believe by next month, we'll have Wave 3 of Thundercats. And then in like another month, we should have Wave 2. So by the end of this year, we're going to have basically 16 Thundercats action figures.
4 waves.
Yeah, man, and I'm super excited. You know how much of an advocate I am for Thundercats. It's something that ever since Mattel announced that they were going to do it, I just lost my shit, and I created the Thundercats Classic page on Facebook, which is like 10,000 followers, and then I have my Instagram page for Thundercats, which is like every day there's like 100 new followers. There's a huge worldwide following for Thundercats, for the IP, and I love it. And like I said, it's just positivity. We got to find the positivity, the things that make us happy. Collecting makes us happy, but we got to have that balance where we have to know when to say no. Perfect example, this Galactus. This thing is $399.
399.
It's 32 inches
I
tall.
thought it will be 500.
I thought so too. It's 32 inches tall. The Sentinel goes up to Galactus' nipple. So I'm definitely getting Galactus. I know that for a fact. But I don't get everything. Like I said, I didn't get the Sentinel. I'm not going to get everything. But, it's just, it's a struggle, man, especially with Mezco. I was looking at my pre-orders with Mezco, and I did a video recently where I was talking about being addicted to Mezco and the struggles with that. And it's like, I got Conan on pre-order, I got Ghost Rider, and when you look at that and you add up all that money, but then you see what you have on pre-orders with Hasbro, and then you see your pre-orders with Super 7. And now another announcement that came yesterday, which I know we're like both excited about, is the GI Joe Real American Hero Ultimates from Super 7.
Oh my God, dude, they look amazing.
Holy shit. And I remember you were telling me, dude, I don't know, because they're 7-inch. Here's the thing. Hasbro is smart. People are getting smart now. Instead of saying, no, this is my property and I'm going to do my stuff, they're licensing their own shit out. So Mattel is having Mondo create stuff for Motu. They're having Super 7 create stuff for Motu. Now Hasbro is doing the same thing. Classifieds is great. It has its
Bro,
world.
that's money, dude. That's money
It's
right
money.
there. You know,
Exactly.
It's money right there.
But I got to tell you, when Classifieds was announced, I got excited. But when I saw Duke and stuff like that, I was like, this is not what I remember from when I was a kid. And then here comes Brian and Super 7, and they're giving me a Duke that looks like he popped out of my VHS tape of G.I. Joe, the Real American Hero.
Look, this is funny because I was talking to you yesterday about it, and I was like, yeah, this and that. But you know what? I was like, let me pre-order them because I have my Filmation He-Man and Skeletor from Mattel, right? And I pre-ordered the Lionel and the Momra, right? So because I can't, like you say, we need to cherry pick, right? I'm not going to collect everything, so I pick the good guy and the bad guy. So how awesome will be to have in my shelf Momra next to Lionel, Skeletor next to He-Man, Cobra Commander next to Duke, and Quicksilver next to Monstar. Like, it's priceless. That's my childhood right there. 80s childhood, in one format,
Yeah, and that's exactly what Brian and Super 7 is doing. He's doing a cohesive line that goes across all these properties from our childhood. So he's got the Silverhawks in animated form, Thundercats in animated form. Now we got G.I. Joe Real American Hero in animated form. I'm not going to say I'm all in, but there's going to be some amazing characters that I can't wait to see in animation form. Serpentor with the chariot, Zartan and the Dreadnoks. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. When you're talking about, you got this awesomeness for $20, and then the ones from Super 7 are $55. It's a big dip. It's a big dip. But when you think about that $55 figure is going to be 3 times as rare as that $20 figure, because there's a lot less produced. And on top of that, it's something that's never been done.
Look what happened with all those Super 7 Motu Classic figures. How expensive they are right now. They're like on the $300 right now. It's crazy.
And it's all because of Origins, because since Origins is in stores, that exposed so many people to Motu that they didn't even know. They're like, oh, there's a toy line that was better than Origins. Wait a minute, let me check them out. And then with all this COVID money and shit, people have been paying so much money for these Motu classics. It's crazy.
Dude, tell me about it. I was just playing with my favorite character out of the Motu line, which is this guy right here.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Anti-Eternia He-Man. This has like a custom head.
Yeah.
And the custom sword and everything. Man,
who did that for you?
I think I got this on eBay, and this guy, Mike Evil
okay.
Mike, he did the weapons for me. He's amazing with weapons. He's the best. But yeah, I mean, listen, I really love Motu Classics, and the scale didn't bother me at all because I was like, well, most of the figures I have are 6-inch, but I think on Masters of the Universe, as aliens, you know. So to me, they need to be big guys, you know. But yeah, as I say, I mean, it doesn't bother me if I put them all together in a shelf, you know, Joe's, Thundercats, Silverhawks, Masters of the Universe, and they're all fit together. And as you say, I'm not gonna buy everything because monetary wise, it's kind of like hard, you know, especially if you're a Mezco collector like me. Uh,
Yeah.
Even with Mezco, I cherry pick everything, you know. And the worst part is that I'm a Mezco collector who likes the Rumble Society, which those are the most hard to find and the most expensive ones.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know that you got those pink skulls, they're going for like $1,000.
Oh my
I've
God, yes.
never I've never had any of those. The farthest it's gone for me, and that was something that you helped me get, was the Gomez of Death.
Goddess of
And
Death.
then I recently got the Agent Gomez, the Hazard Squad Gold Commander. I was
Oh,
able to
that's
get
cool.
one on eBay for a decent price. So
That's
I
a good
got him
figure.
out of the way. But yeah, it's a struggle, you know, because um, when pre-orders come out, you're like, okay, do I do I get this right now? Is it gonna be rare? And it's like that whole struggle. It's like, should I pre-order it now? Do I really need it in my collection? You know, sometimes you buy things because someone puts up some really awesome toy photography and it's like, oh, that looks really nice, you know?
Oh yeah.
But a perfect example is you recently did a review of the Mezco 112 Thanos. And I know you're a huge Thanos fan, and you're just as passionate for
Can you tell?
Thanos. Yeah, you're just as passionate for Thanos as I am for Thundercats, right? And I watched your review, man, and I love the excitement, and you really went into the details. I love how you explained how, you know, the light feature works and how people have been having issues with it not working properly or the hand not staying in place. And I got to tell you, I love Thanos too, but for me, to this day, the best Thanos right now in the market is between this one and that one that you have in your hand there. And I'll tell you why. As much as I love what Mezco does, I think they're still hit or miss when it comes to the fabrication of their clothing and how it fits on a body. Um, I think that Thanos, for the price point that you're paying, it looks like he's wearing like a hefty garbage bag as a suit. Um, a perfect example, you know, when people go jogging and they put like a
Yeah,
black,
I know.
it it just doesn't look right, man. Like um, I know there's this one person. I'm trying to think their name right now. Tony May. Tony May.
Tony May.
He does custom costumes. He's done a lot of really good costumes for the Batmans, the Supermans, and stuff like that. Tony May needs to make a tight fitting suit for that Thanos, and then that would probably be a Thanos I'll buy.
He made a Superman for me back in the days, when the first Superman came out, right? Because I didn't like the shininess on the vest on the first Superman that Mezco did. With these Thanos, the thing is like, if you, I mean, I can point out at people. Like, I was talking to a friend, actually, one of my best friends. I was talking about that actually. Um, with these Thanos that Mezco did or made, he's like a totally Mezconized Thanos. You know, like their own design, their own style, or whatever. And I think if you don't like the bagginess on the uniform, which is totally valid, because if you don't like the design, it's up to every single individual. You know, like everybody has likes and dislikes. I kind of like and understand the uniform, because if you were like, for example, these guys that wear like leather jackets for motorcycles, in order for them to move, because they're very thick, you need to have certain bagginess on the uniform, which that applies to these Thanos because the uniform is leather. Uh, if you want a Thanos that looks like. This one, you may need the spandex material that they use on Superman or other characters. Uh, but what I can understand is when people sing, because this Thanos is the same as they show in the pre-order, right? And then you know already, you know, before that is gonna have that type of material, is gonna have the articulation that Bluto have, because it's the same body, but people still get the figure, you know, like hoping that it's gonna be different than what they show on pictures. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I always say this, and I learned this from a long time ago. There's a saying that said the pain is on the expectations. You know, it's like, and I put the best example. It's like when you are like when there's this girl, that wants to date this guy, but this guy is a player, right? He likes to go with different girls, and she's like, "Oh no, but I'm the one who's gonna change him," you know. And then she realized that's not reality, and boom, you have that like reality check, and then you get sad, you get angry, this and that. So that's what I'm saying. If you tell me, or people tell me, I don't like the design of the Thanos, the Mezco Thanos, I totally get it perfectly. If you say I don't like the articulation, that's why I didn't buy it. Hey, I totally get it. If for you the articulation is the most important thing in an action figure, hey, I'm totally on board with you. But if you bought the figure knowing already what's going on, and you still keep bitching about it and criticize and this and that, dude, come on. There's no point. Don't buy the figure, and that's it. It's simple as that.
I think the main thing is that Mezco has given us a standard. When we look at these Gomez figures and we look at these Rumble Society figures, the range of motion is amazing. And they have fabric clothing, they have stretchy clothing. Popeye is a perfect example. So
this
I
is my
think
favorite figure in my collection, dude. This is the best figure in the universe to me.
hey, a lot of people agree with you. But the point is that I guess what we want as collectors, and me, for example, I would have loved to see that range of motion like the Bluto on Thanos, but to actually work, because that suit, it just really limits the articulation a lot. And I don't know, there's ways to go about it with, especially with a character that's that expensive with a price point of $150. They
It was
should have
expensive.
tried to do, something within the suit where it would have like a stretchy spandex inside, mixed with, there's a lot of things that could have been done. Seeing the pre-order, I didn't know right away that it would be more of like a leathery suit. I thought it could be probably expandable. So thankfully I pre-ordered, but I was on wait list. So I was able to cancel. But
They use the same material they use on Darkseid.
okay. See, Darkseid was another one that to me it just didn't look right. And I didn't pull the trigger on him. But it's and that's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to collecting, there's people that don't know how to say no. They'll be like, "Oh, it's Thanos, it's Mezco, I have to have it."
Yeah.
But no, I'll be like, you know what? No, and I'm like, let me watch Carlos's video, let me see, and you went into so much detail. You basically covered all my doubts and everything that I wanted to know, and kind of like what I used to do back in the day when I did toy reviews. And as a consumer, I appreciated watching your video because it helped me decide that it was a no for me.
Thank you.
And that doesn't mean anything bad. What that means is that you're very clear and transparent, and you're delivering the right message to collectors. You're focusing on the things that collectors look for. So
Exactly,
kudos
because
to
I'm a
you.
collector.
Exactly, kudos to you. You did a great job on that video, and the one thing that I also wanted to mention, as collectors and being addicted to toys, there are times in our lives where we do things that we may be ashamed of. So, for example, I coined this the shame piece. So, is there anything in your collection right now that you could say it's probably something that you're ashamed of how much you paid to get it, or that you probably went through some crazy shit to get it, in the sense of like you had an argument with somebody about buying it or not buying it, or you didn't pay a bill on time to be able to buy it. Is there anything like that in your collection, like a shame piece?
Oh my god, dude! Like, there's so many, but I think the
So
one,
many.
I think the one that the ones that takes the these two right here.
Oh, how much did you pay for those, Carlos?
The Mezco Asia goals, dude.
How much you
Um, well, I got kind of like a deal on them, but still it was a lot of money, dude. I pay around $1,200 for the two of them.
pay?
$1,200.
I would
And
never pay $600 for a
listen,
mask.
it was this. The only Asia gold, the white one, white assassin that is on eBay right now, it goes for around 1,500.
Just one of them.
Just the white one.
Wow.
Just the white one. The black one, I think it goes for $700 to $800.
Jesus.
So I made this connection through a good friend on the Mesco groups. He hooked me up with this guy, and these two were totally brand new, never open. So
Wow.
I close my eyes, open my wallet, and throw it right there, because that's the point. Like, the thing is this. I'm a huge Mesco fan, but I'm more a huge Rumble Society fan. So, because I like their own stuff.
I like their in-house stuff.
It's
Yeah,
really cool. It's really cool. There's
is.
art there.
It
Really
is.
cool. So I was like, I'm a completist, dude. I need to have them. And there you go. Those are my
Wow.
shame figures, pretty much, dude.
Yeah, definitely call those. I mean, for you, it's not a shame piece because it's a victory. It's something that you wanted to get, and like you
Yes.
said, the white version goes for $1,500. So you really came up on front, because you have, if you were to want to sell it, you would probably make a profit for sure. Like,
Oh yeah, totally. If you want to sell these figures right now, you can get like $2,000 plus.
that's insane.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
insane. It's crazy how far Mezco has come, because I remember at one point Mezco, they weren't really moving product. They weren't like, they did an amazing job with the movie Hellboy figures. And then when the second Hellboy movie came out, the figures were okay, but they weren't as good as the first. And, recently I was talking to Attack Peter, a buddy of mine from South Florida also. He's a
Remember
fellow
this?
artist. Oh, yeah. That's Rasputin, right?
No, this is the guy from.
Oh, no, that's
from
what's his face from Dracula, right?
yeah.
That's Renfield.
Yes.
Renfield. Yes. Count Orloff.
Yes.
Yes. And it's funny
Before-
because you
Before
look at
Mezco,
that.
Aztec.
Yeah, Aztec Toys, which became Mezco. And
Exactly.
it's crazy how far they've come. But now with 112 Collective, man, it's insane. It's insane what how people go crazy. Just the other day, Baker's Dozen, just for 20 weapons, the website crashed. So it's a perfect
I'm-
example of how crazy.
I'm scared of the Mezco Condor, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
If the page crashed like that with those weapon packs,
I know. It's scary. It definitely is scary, man. But you know what? Like you said, man, we find a joy and a happiness out of our hobby. It's awesome to make friends, collector buddies like you and other people in the community. We help each other out to find things. And at the end of the day, as long as bills are paid and we're responsible, If it makes us happy, like when I talked to Cornboy recently, he's like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not going out with my boys or like, cheating on my wife. I collect toys, and that doesn't do a disservice or do anything negative to my life or my loved ones,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's something that, the hobby is great. And nowadays it's a scary thing because any version of any character we want, whether it's animated, super articulated, real fabric, 12-inch super hyper detail, they're there. They're there. And then we just have to make those decisions which ones do we want to buy? Do we want to buy the Hot Toys version? Do we want to buy the Mezco version? Do we want to get the Hasbro version? Or do we want to get them all? you know?
Exactly. Or you have this awesome artist and you can, customize whatever you like. Perfect example.
Oh, that's awesome. Kingdom Come Superman.
My favorite Superman version, dude. Like,
is that a McFarlane Superman body?
This is the infected Superman body with a custom head and wire cape.
Oh wow!
This is a guy from Philippines called Lee Allers. He did this for me.
Wow!
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. I've gotten as far as getting like custom heads. I don't know if you're familiar with Sculptor Shelf. Sculptor
Yes.
Shelf. He did these realistic He-Man heads. I still have the serious one.
The
but
one with the flowing hair.
I have the serious one, which is unpainted. I got to find somebody that can paint it for me. And then I recently ordered the angry one, which he also made a faker version of it.
Yeah, I saw.
And he teased a few months back. He put the picture and then he removed it. He's working on a Lion-O. Sculptor Shelf is working on a Lion-O. So I can't wait to see when it comes out. I told him to please hit me up when it goes up because I definitely want to add that to my collection.
That's crazy.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, dude, it's been awesome talking to you. Thanks so much. And hey, man, the next thing up is Masters of the Universe Revelation. It's coming out next Friday, right?
Yes, sir.
Super excited. I got my Skelegod, which again, that was something that I was able to score through you and a friend. And I'm really excited about the Masterverse line as a whole. I think that these animated figures look cool, but
They look awesome.
I think there's a potential to grow that line, and we might see like a Motu Classics 2.0 coming from that. So I'm really excited to see the non-animated stuff, and also Wave 2, which is going to include Men-at-Arms, Beastman, Spikor, and Tila. Can't wait to see pictures of that. And then right before we started recording, we saw the reveal of the summer exclusive Mattel Creations Scareglow figure, which looks amazing. I can say he looks 10 times better than Skeletor. So I'm not a big fan of the Skeletor design for the toy that came out. It doesn't really look like what we see on the Netflix trailer, but I've seen some cool customs where people have put the Filmation Skeletor on that head. I've seen the Skelegod head on the Revelations body, and there's a lot of mixing and matching that can be done that looks really cool. So definitely, it's going to be interesting to see once we have these in hand. Maybe we can come on here and have like a discussion about those, and,
Yes,
and
sir. Masters.
just talk shop about that line. Yeah,
Yep. Totally.
for sure, man. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. It was great talking to you, man. And
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure and an honor to be in your show, dude.
oh man, don't say that. It's just fellow collectors talking shop, man. It's really awesome to just be able to sit here for an hour and talk shit about collecting, man. So just keep it, keep collecting, man, and stay addicted and proud. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much, dude. Take care.
Later, man.
Bye.